Hello there, ladies and gents and superheroes of the Comics League. I am Jared. Welcome to Comics League Dark. Today is going to be a very good show today because we have a little added bonus. First off, let me introduce my co-host. He always knows how to bring a inferno wherever he goes. Hello there, JJheat.
Flame on. How you doing?
And David, that's the intro for this show specifically. But let's see who we got. We got Yusuf, we've got David, we've got Brown, and I'm sure more people will show up. So this is going to be a very special show where, since it's just the two of us, Nick had a con and everything, we figured also, if you guys want, we will open the panel up so you guys can come in and talk with us live on the panel. So if you guys are interested in doing that, let me know. I'll drop the link in the chat and then we can start that. But anyway, first off, JJheat, how are you doing, my man?
I'm doing all right, brother. How you doing?
Doing very well. So, do you want to talk about the Henry Cavill stuff or the aftermath of my debate first?
Henry Cavill. Let's just start with a slow topic.
All right. Well, all right. So we had to talk about this because it came out that apparently Gunn was hired to write the Superman movie 6 months ago, which means that Warner Brothers knew they weren't going to bring Cavill back and then told him to announce his return because of Black Adam. And at this point, you know what? I think we should roll the clip. I don't know about you, JJheat, but...
Yeah, second Warner Brothers.
Yeah, that's what the only thing
I will play devil's advocate. There was nothing in writing. It was completely verbal. And most of that marketing was to give Black Adam some momentum. So you got to look at it from a business standpoint too.
Oh, well, I got that, but they told him to announce on his social media. And David, I think, can you do StreamYard on an iPad? I think you can.
You should be able to.
You should be able to. But yeah, can you believe this? Isn't this moronic? And it sounds like something Warner Brothers would do.
Roll the clip. Roll the clip.
Yeah, you know what? We got this whole topic is just gonna be us playing this clip 80 times.
Yeah, second Warner Brothers.
Yeah, there you go. That's pretty much what we're all feeling right now. Pretty much, because oh my gosh. And
this is the last time I'm gonna say it. DC, even if you factor DCAU Superman as the tried and true characterization, arguably one of the best adaptations of all time.
Thank you.
That's still post-crisis Superman. Mm-hmm. That's not Golden Age or Christopher Reeves. Silver Age.
It was never meant to.
And I'm just like, I get the nostalgia. I get the dreary of it. Does Snyder have a darker, grittier vision? To an extent. But Man of Steel specifically was not that dark.
Oh, no. And I wish Nick were here could tell you, it's not a dark movie. Definitely not a dark movie. And here's the thing, though. And this is one of the points I made on my debate with Nerdette, because she kept bringing up the same old stuff.
Oh, she roasted big time. I'm surprised you didn't snap.
Oh, trust me, I wanted to. I was trying to maintain civilness, but as soon as she gets into John Kent and Superman murdering people in Metropolis, I was like, okay, so it's gonna be one of those streams. But I think I defended myself pretty well. But we'll talk about that in a second. But so with the Henry Cavill stuff again, and actually, David just brings up an excellent point. Warner Brothers has made so many bad choices, So that's a good one, JJheat. So JJheat puts in the private chat that I was one wonder bat away from an epic rant. Trust me. She just said that Snyder stuff was gloomy and that's so lame. She tried to tell me that Man of Steel was dark, and that's where I was like,
Nerdette, I would love to have you on the show, both as my own entity and and for Comics League. But if we were to talk about certain series such as Catwoman, Son of Kal-El, if you really want, I'd be welcome.
To be clear, I love Nerdette. She's a close friend of the channel. No beef whatsoever.
None
whatsoever. She's a really fun person. In fact, she was sending me stuff in support of what I posted today on my community tab, which we're not going to address that right now. That'll be addressed on Movie Night. But anyway, but the point is, I'm just saying it's fine to have our disagreements.
Opinions.
All I'm saying is that it was the same arguments over and over and over again, which is fine, but still. But anyway. The point is, okay, it's just like here's the thing, and I said this, I believe, on the debate last night, and it's like Warner Brothers seems determined to eliminate anything Snyder ever touched. Anything.
Okay, you know what? I might be conspiracy theory, but because you got to remember, Black Adam was technically credited as a Hamada film.
Yeah.
Yes, Emmerich finagled the numbers and finessed Discovery to secure the merger. But if you also look at it at the executive side of things, Hamada and the preemptive hiring of James Gunn, that could have just been one last FU out the door. Because think about it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Dark was created by Marvel and MCU fans. Normies went with it because they saw the MCU was successful and thought that that. So they thought that I'm having trouble speaking. Marvel fans might be right, and they create all the hatred. Yeah, it's probably because of the. And what's up, Andre? Yeah, that's one of the reasons I have maintained that the MCU has ruined superhero movies, because everyone thinks they're supposed to be these joke fests. And by the way, thanks, Dave. Snyder Queen was the same way. She was sending me DMs the whole time. She's like, wow. But anyway, normies now changing their opinion on Snyder seeing reality. You know what? Speaking of that, and I brought this up, I have shown Snyder's movies to all my family members, people that are not comic fans, because I wanted to see, okay, ignoring how someone detached from the nostalgia, what are their opinions? They all love them. Like, they're like, okay, so he's making Superman actually relevant. That's what I said. Oh, by the way, our little friend is here. And by the way, Sammy, we're going to open the panel if you want to join us. But in the meantime, there you go. But anyway, yeah. That's learning me. I didn't like Snyder until I started coming to the stream. Oh, thank you. We're glad we can help you, because that's the point of this, is just to look at these from a new perspective. Because here's the thing. Yeah, Snyder stuff is not. When you look at the comics that were coming out at the time, that's one of the points I said. They were very comic accurate. New 52 post-crisis. That's it, because Superman 78 came out pre-crisis. Am I right?
Roughly around that time.
Yeah.
It was like right before it. No.
It's all good, Sammy, but you're always welcome.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime. But yes, the Crisis was in 1985, so it was about a good 7 to 8 years prior to Crisis.
That was pre-Crisis Superman, and that is totally fine. I'm not bashing that movie. I'm just saying, when people say that Snyder doesn't understand Superman, I'm like, actually, he does. I read post-Crisis Superman, and I'm like, I was telling her, I'm reading John Byrne's Man of Steel right now, and I'm flipping through it.
Good run.
I'm enjoying it. I'm flipping through it, and I'm like, this is legitimately Man of Steel. Like, legitimately Man of Steel. Yeah, the grind. Yeah, exactly. That's a big book to get through. Oh my gosh.
Ooh, I remember those days.
The death of Superman in his
studio interference and exec.
Yes, that was not Snyder's choice. He wanted to have Man of Steel 2 be the second movie where Superman is the more hopeful Superman, and he didn't want to kill. He really. Batman versus Superman was forced upon Zack Snyder. He didn't want to do that, but Warner Brothers wanted to use it as a way to shoehorn the Justice League without setting them up correctly. And this way, sounds Nerdette stream. About 99.9% of the criticism Snyder gets, it's all due to Warner Brothers. Nothing Snyder did. That's all I'm gonna say. But anyway, but yeah, and when I read that tweet by James Gunn, basically confirming that they were never going to bring Superman back, even though they brought it in, I got really, really, really upset, because I'm like, wait a second here. All right, so you tell the guy to announce that he's back as Superman, and all of the social media for all the different divisions of Warner Brothers say, oh my gosh, Superman's back. He's back. By Man of Steel. And I'm like, what the hell? As soon as that happened, I was like, what? I think we all got sad about Cavill. Yeah, exactly. I honestly don't think that there was no plans to bring him back. Okay, it could be that they were well, remember, they were in the process of doing contract stuff, and then that happened. So 100%, that's probably what happened. But here's the thing.
Pretty
Here's the
much.
stupid part. James Gunn saw how excited people were, and he didn't think, okay, maybe I could modify this a little bit because the fans are obviously excited because of this. I'm like, what? I think there was a plan to bring him back and another plan behind the scenes. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll certainly see what happens. It wouldn't surprise me right now. Nothing Warner Brothers has done, nothing that has happened will surprise me. And this is why I have doubts about James Gunn's take on Superman. Christopher Reeves in 2025 is a bad idea. Yeah, Superman Returns. I said this on the stream too. I was like, yeah, it didn't work.
The actor got a bad rap, but after Quest for Peace, can you really blame them for being skeptical of Superman 06? After Quest for Peace, come on.
Yeah,
I remember the trailer for that movie.
He would be back because of multiverse. Oh, well, yeah, that's fine. They could do Kingdom Come, or they could license the Snyderverse to Netflix, assuming everything lines up and be done with it. Hashtag yes, by good work with the hashtag. I'm not watching James Gunn reboot DC. Hey, fair enough. Okay. That's your right. That's fine. Okay.
I'm gonna give it a chance. I'm gonna give it a chance to see what he can do.
I honestly think the treatment of Superman, not just Cavill, is so disrespectful. Yeah, because think about it this way. How long, and David Zaslav, by the way, I'm going to add another topic because I just realized they had the Warner Brothers investor call that we have to talk about. But anyway, Zaslav said there hasn't been a Superman movie in 10 years.
Arguably 15
years. Well, there hasn't been a movie that's labeled Superman in 10 years. And I'm like, what the? It doesn't make sense. And Zaslav did bring up that Zaslav is willing to license DC to other streaming services. So
they recently licensed a Doom Patrol spinoff.
But you could say you could say, let's move on to this. You could say that that's just like because those characters are cheaper to license, but no, I don't think. Yes, and they could do this in the meantime. Yeah, we can meet up in the future with crossover. That's a great idea. You could say that the Justice League would be more expensive, but still, again, you could negotiate that whole process. All we want is like start a conversation. Gunn should have put Cavill in something out of goodwill. An HBO Max miniseries, for example, as a farewell to his Superman. Yeah, exactly. Should have given us something instead of saying, no, you're done.
But his original contract was fulfilled when Warner Media commissioned the Snyder Cut. So technically, his original 6-film appearance was already approved, was already contracted and negotiated for. You would literally have to commission Cavill a new contract, which I don't think right after the Discovery merger they were in a position to do.
And I was on Core. They had one nice question. Who do you think should direct the Superman Legacy movie? My opinion, the Top Gun director. There's talk that it may be Gunn himself directing Superman, which I'm like, ugh. And by the way,
James,
I am now dropping the link into the chat. So if any of you would like to join us, my only rule, keep it PG. That is it. And obviously stay on topic, but that's besides the point. And I reserve the right to remove anyone if they flaunt those rules. But anyway, the link is in the chat, so come on in. But anyway, yeah, I'm a little concerned by the fact that he is. Cavill's last contracted cameo was Black Adam. The Flash cameo was a spoken agreement. They
never put that in writing. They never put that in writing.
Me. David Z rolled into the Warner Brothers meetings. It was like, where the heck is the Superman movie? It's been years. What the hell are you doing?
Exactly. Zaslav is a good is a decent businessman. Now, some of the projects you would have preferred or liked may have gotten slashed here and there, but I think Zaslav is making the best out of a bad situation because because you know good and well Emmerich finagled the numbers. Let's call it for what it is.
I even brought up on the stream because she was a big fan of Peacemaker and stuff. I said Warner Bros. When Discovery was taking over Warner Brothers, they said, yeah, they lied about a lot of the HBO Max numbers. By reboot Man of Steel, fine. Reboot Batman, no one asked for, and not that the Batman bit 2022 to be a reboot Batman.
Okay, I'll play devil's advocate. The only reason we're in that situation because Matt Reeves refuses to play ball and wants the Batman to strictly be standalone. That's the only reason.
Yeah, they're not going to do that because even James Gunn said it's going to be a new actor playing Batman. But he does bring up a good point now. Reboot everyone. That's the thing. At the very least, I hope they keep his appearance in the Flash. I mean, they may.
Maybe a prologue cameo before Barry changes the timeline, but that'd be no like what 2-3 minutes at best.
Well, what they could do, and I said this on like a earlier stream, they could use it as like a way to like what's the word to like say goodbye. Like they could have say goodbye to universe. Like the Flash comes back, you see like Kaye and Cavill flying side by side doing superhuman stuff. And dude, they call Warner Bros. An arms dealer. Everything is on the table. Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm like, yeah, if it makes money, because it came out that they still need to like drop like $4 billion, 4.5, and I'm like, if it makes if it contributes to them lowering that debt, Zaslav is gonna do it. He has proven that he will do anything. Did any of us predict that they would cancel Batgirl when it was almost done?
Need we say more?
That was our first emergency stream. Still, Matt Reeves don't own the rights to Batman, but that's part of his contract that his universe is separate. That's the promise that Warner Brothers gave him. And again, James Gunn said different Batman. Reboot all actors with the age 28. He's not doing that. It was kind of funny. He changed his mind on that real quick because he did say that originally. Then he's like, I never said that. I said he's gonna be younger than Batman. I said he's gonna be in his 30s, and everyone's like, "But
Henry Cavill's in his 30s."
Yeah, that he's not making it any better on himself because he said. I love whenever he gives us an age range. Watch, he'll say 35 to 39. Okay, so Cavill, literally Cavill.
I'm not gonna jump the gun and say ego was a factor, but some bridges were definitely burned because originally Cavill was supposed to make a cameo in the first Shazam film, but that was so they could wrap up his 6th appearance and wrap up his contract. Cavill didn't play ball, and some would say Cavill was blacklisted for a while until Warner Media told him to get their head to cut the crap.
And we got David. What's up, dude?
What's up?
And you are we cannot hear you. I think you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can hear you. All right,
how you doing, man?
What's up?
Other channel. Okay, there we go. Oh, no,
okay. Do you want Batman 2 or 2 for Fantastical? A little in the middle. Because
little in the middle.
We're dealing in a universe where you have a dude that teams up with gods, so he's got to be like a little fantastical. And there you go. So what's up,
how you doing,
David? Your thoughts?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing well.
Good.
Very well.
I was getting it all connected. What was the question?
Yeah. So what do you think about what happened with Cavill and all the investor call stuff and all that?
Oh man, I think that they were really unfair to him. They were very unfair to that guy because like he wanted to be part of it. The Rock wanted him to be part of it. The Rock still wants to be part of the DCU. It's all very unfair, and I don't get why they would even ask him to come back for a cameo if they're not going to actually use him.
And tell him to announce that he's back. And that's the part that's really damning in my eyes, that they told him to announce he was back.
They want a clean slate after these last 3 movies, and the executives clearly want to stay face. Sure, Hamada and Sarnoff were fired, but there's still some heavy leeway and influence in the larger company of Warner Brothers. Jared, if you could please roll the clip.
Oh, yeah, okay. We're going to be using this clip a lot.
Yeah, second Warner Brothers.
There you go.
It's all just saving. It's mostly saving face.
Something tells me we're going to be using that clip a lot the next couple of months.
Probably.
But yeah, so yeah, I mean, it's really really hard to be a DC fan. Have you guys noticed that? Really tough. Did Matt Reeves realize he'll get even more DC fan? No, he will not, because here's the thing now. That Batman is not comic accurate whatsoever. Not at all.
I'd say it takes more off the Christopher Nolan trilogy than anything comics accurate.
Yeah. And by the way, no, it's because guess what? It's because that universe doesn't work with a lot of the rest of the DC universe because he wants it to be like grounded in reality. You can't have a grounded reality where you have a sun god and an Amazon princess.
Well, the Amazon princess stems from Greek mythology. If we can get away with Thor in the MCU, I think we could pull off Wonder Woman.
Sun God and like a dude that when you kill him, he comes back even stronger.
Doomsday is super adaptable.
No, I didn't say Doomsday. I said Darkseid.
Darkseid's someone you build up to, but
I've talked about no, but do you really see that Batman going up against Darkseid? I don't.
No, not really.
Dave the Impaler, we do not talk about Bat God. That was a complete over the top.
Well, Batman did fall from orbits.
Yeah. And that
Zdarsky wrote himself into a corner.
Wait, Batman is in space and his suit protects him. Space! He doesn't even have like I think I'm like, no, that doesn't work.
All you had to do was pull an Iron Man and have him launch some armor from like a bat from the Batcave. Easy fix.
And this says something, by the way. Nolan's Batman was more comic accurate. He was actually.
I'll give you that.
Particularly
Dave, what do you
when
think?
you talk about like year one. Yeah, what do you think, dude?
I think that the Pattinson Batman, it only works in his own standalone universe that they're already creating for him. Because they've already like went away from fantastical elements of the bad guys that they have shown. Because like the Riddler is very grounded. The Penguin doesn't look anything like the comic penguins that have come before. Doesn't even look like other movie adaptations of the Penguin. I think that what he's making is only working for his universe, and I think that they just want to make money with Reeves because they've already used Reeves, or like Reeves has proven to reboot franchises like he did with Planet of the Apes. I don't think that he's really the right director for Batman going forward. I don't think Pattinson's the right Batman going forward either. I think, for one, he's too small and looks too young for where he is in his career.
He does not have the frame. He does not have the frame.
And now I would encourage you to look up statements by Matt Reeves himself. He said he was going for a more realistic Batman universe. That was one of the marketing points for the movie.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. But it's not going to work when like JJheat was saying, when they have to fight Darkseid or a bigger bad. Like they have to include some kind of fantastical element to him, like either super strength, super speed. Even the Nolan movies, he appears from the shadows and disappears, and in ways that aren't human-like. And that's missing from this version of the Batman. Not saying that I don't like this version, but I think that it can be improved.
This is not the same thing because you're dealing with mutant turtles in that universe. In this universe,
mutant Ninja Turtles. Sorry, I got Team TOT. But three in my head.
Where in Batman, in this version of Batman, you're dealing with just a dude in a bat suit. That's as far as we know right now. That's the difference. That's the difference because these characters were not pre-existing in that universe.
Oh, by the way, Nelson, that's basically Velma on HBO Max.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then
Am I wrong?
Oh my gosh, Matt Reeves is what Tom Taylor should be in the comics. Tom Taylor can't write a main continuity book to save his life.
Am I wrong?
Elseworlds.
No, you're not wrong.
You are not wrong. Anyone that's read Son of Kal-El knows that's not wrong. He's not wrong on that one.
And he's taking over Titans
or Injustice. I'm like, write that.
Yeah.
Write that. All I want is that. What are you doing? Even Dark Knights of Steel. It's not like he lost the skill.
I just feel like editorials has a strong.
I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I love that movie. I'm just saying it worked. The pacing is horrendous, but I'm just saying it works best as its own thing. Just because you like the movie and we all like the movie doesn't mean it works in the main continuity. Plus the fact when you create a Justice League, you're gonna want to cast all of them together so you can make sure that these characters have chemistry, because it could be, let's say they use Pattinson and they cast the Justice League and Pattinson has no chemistry with the other actors. How are they going to be believable as a team?
Well, to be fair, you do have the brooding loner angle.
Mm-hmm. So they got that all day.
You still have that's good. I'm too scared to watch Velma. I have it out of protest because I'm a Scooby-Doo fan. honestly, the concept of a realistic Batman is kind of silly. A Batman can be inexperienced, but he would still never work in reality. Even Pattinson's Batman could grow into more fantastical. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Yeah.
Did you check out that mini series version of the Batman? I don't think you sent me that.
I think I know what you're talking about. Snyder Queen, if you could send the link or give us like a clue.
Yeah,
I think
jam it to me on Twitter and I'll share it out. It looks great. James Gunn's Batman's gonna be fantastical. Well, yeah, because we're dealing with like
Grant Morrison's run. Of course, it's gonna be fantastical.
Anything Grant Morrison writes is fantastical. Have you read Final Crisis? I'm still trying to understand what the hell happened in that book.
I feel like Final Crisis was just a fever dream.
Oh, it had to be a fever dream, dude. I'm like, what were you on when you were writing this? Because Superman is singing Darkseid to death. By the way, Flash kills someone in that book. He kills Darkseid. There you go. The superheroes all kill Darkseid multiple times in that book, which indicates superheroes kill.
On the rarest of occasions, unless we're counting anti-heroes. On the rarest of occasions.
Well, I'm saying the Justice League, because I got into another Twitter debate. For some reason, these people always come after me, saying that send me one panel that's not 1940s of Batman using a gun and killing people. I'm like, okay.
Even Batman alone.
No, but I'm like, right there, Final Crisis. He kills Darkseid. Well, Darkseid didn't die. Batman didn't know that.
Not to mention, Batman was toting guns and killing criminals until the Silver Age, thanks to the Comics Code Authority.
Well, they said before, that's what they always say, not counting that stuff. I'm like, no, I can count that stuff because DC says it all matters, so suck it.
That includes the Silver Age and Golden Age, not to mention collateral damage alone. By letting the Joker live, do you know how many graveyards Bruce has filled?
Yeah, but... Speaking of Nerdette, I got in trouble on that one because I brought up that Batman is partially responsible for everyone the Joker kills because he won't kill the Joker. And a couple of people in that stream came after me because they're like, well, no, I'm like, yeah, he knows what's going to happen that if he puts the Joker in Arkham Asylum. It doesn't work. Historically doesn't work. Guess what happens? He breaks
and the only reason the state won't do anything because, well, Joker can write off the insanity defense. No, Joker.
Insanity.
Joker rides off the insanity defense every time.
Which I think he is insane, but Batman let the Joker die in Joker War, but he didn't die.
That's not what happened.
That's not what happened, though. That's definitely not what happened.
Harley threatened to unalive himself.
Please,
and Joker will be caught in the blast. Bruce hesitated for like 2 or 3, like a page, and ultimately de-escalated the situation.
Oh, but Yeah, but I was going to say, Snyder Queen and I had a good moment because when these people came out to me, she said, just tell them this. At least my Batman killed a god. But anyway, I don't want Batmite right now. I don't think Batmite or Mixelplick will translate well into the into the movie-going audience. It won't work.
You can use Mixelplick for like a tie-in series or a TV show.
5G would have told a different story in Doomed Comics. Oh, yeah. And I get what Matt was just trying to do, but it don't mean I agree. That's fine. That's fine. Disagree. We're not saying you do. I'm just going off of what he said, but that's totally fine if you think he could work. But yeah, exactly. Our Batman punched Superman. Take it. But so what do you think of all this, David? Well, first off, let me ask you this. I never got your opinion on this. Does Batman use guns?
He can.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he uses guns in a whole bunch of comics. He even uses the bat suits, like the Hellbat suits. Like, how is that not equivalent
with a flamethrower?
Yeah.
And the guns on the Batmobile count.
The guns on the bat,
even if there's like riot suppressive guns, those count. My favorite are the people that tell me that their favorite Batman then is Michael Keaton. I'm like, he had machine guns and he lit someone on fire. He dropped a grenade down someone's pants and grinned, which was awesome, by the way. Thank you. Ezra Miller's bats. I'm not so sure about that, but yeah. And in terms of the guns and the killing, it's not going to be his first option. In other words, Batman's not going to intentionally go out to kill someone. I admit that, but he's not. if it comes down to it, he will do it because he has done it in the past. It just depends. And I always brought up, and parademons. He kills, he mass murders aliens.
I'm currently reading the Peter Tomasi and Patrick Gleason omnibus of the Batman and Robin one, and he even talks in it. It's in continuity. It's very new. It was like right in the middle of New 52, right after Grant Morrison. And he talks about, and he's telling Damon, he's like, I want to kill them all the time. All of the terrible things that all these crazies I've gone up against make me want to hurt them and kill them, but I don't, and I show restraint. But like that idea is always with him, and he's always struggling with it.
And he's killed people. It's just then DC editorial is like, oh no, we can't do this because then the fans that have never read a modern Batman comic are going to come after us.
And literally one of the issues I read today, he cut the hands off of a parademon with Frankenstein's sword. And I was like, that's definitely killing that guy. Like he'll bleed out or something. Yeah, exactly. Like that's maybe even worse than dying.
I brought that up to Nerdette yesterday, and she says, "Well, parademons aren't people." Well, I'm like, "Yeah, but they're people. That
they are people who were enslaved, lost their free will. And
it still counts." And I brought this up. That's not what the argument is. The argument is, does Batman kill? If you want to debate if he kills human beings, that's fine. But in terms of the blanket statement, no, yes, he does. It just happens. Damian Wayne's a bad Robin. Well, that's a hot take.
Robin. He's definitely my favorite Robin.
Did you see? I think it was like last week when we said the kid from Young Sheldon should play Damian in the DCU.
Perfect casting.
I could so see him playing Damian.
He could do it. He could do it.
So good. Yeah. They're mutated people, and Justice League brought this up. Both versions, as a matter of fact. I was really surprised. That was one of the few things of Justice League that made sense, and I know I got to do this now.
Why did you say that, Dad?
Yeah.
And come on, who wasn't an obnoxious jerk when they were 10 to 12 years old? Come on.
Seriously.
Everyone is. We all
and who didn't think that life was like a video game? Because he's literally been raised since birth to be a secret, like, ninja assassin. So he doesn't really have a
bred killer. He just doesn't care. He literally doesn't care. He's noble. He's an aristocrat. But if not, he literally has Bruce's mentality of being objective. One's willing to kill. One was born and bred to kill. The other's a self-righteous rich boy in a bat suit. Am I wrong?
No.
Am I wrong?
So that's actually a good transition to our next topic. Talk about my debate with Nerdette, because that was interesting. Oh my gosh.
We're gonna get some heat for this.
I think I saw you guys both in the chat. By the way, I want to start off. No hate on Nerdette. I love hanging out with her. I'm saying she had the same arguments that I expected going in, because the purpose of the debate was just to talk about the sell hashtag. All right. But for some reason it got into like the minute points. And the minute she starts talking about Man of Steel, I was like, oh no. By the way, so Nell says I hated Nerdette because they exaggerated about me after I tried to impress her. It's a long story. Okay. Well anyway. But it's like, so she brought up John Kent. By the way, I saw this great tweet that I want to send her. It was a picture of like, even in the Christopher Reeve movie, Jonathan Kent is telling Clark not to reveal himself and to not use his powers. So I'm like, hello. He's always been saying this.
One's a cautionary gesture. The other is purposely walking into a tornado and waiting for death.
No, not that. I'm not talking with the tornado scene because that was weak. She was talking about the scene where John Kent said maybe, and I'm like, well, if you actually watch the whole scene, they expand on that with the context, because what he's really saying is, be careful. I can't tell you what to do. You're going to have to, but decisions have consequences. That's what he's trying to teach his son.
I actually think that scene's like A+, and then the scene with the tornado is like not great at all.
It could have been redone.
Yeah. But the scene where he's talking to young Clark is definitely very good, because it's like how a father would actually talk to his child. Because that's one thing that people like kind of are missing, is that it's hard to like film actors being very real, and that's what that scene is. It's like a dad talking to his son. You can't think of it like a comic book anymore.
when Jonathan said, when Clark says, "Can't I just keep pretending I'm your son?" And then you hear Jonathan Kent, like his voice breaks up and he goes, "You are my son." I'm like, there you go. That is awesome. And I just love how that same speech was echoed in the Snyder cut when Superman is going through the Kryptonian ship and you hear the voices. Then he emerges in the freaking black suit, and I'm like, yes. But yeah, that's my point. And it was kind of funny when I asked her, like, when I asked the chat, because the chat started arguing with me about stuff that happened in Zack Snyder's Justice League. And I know that, and I was sure about what I was saying because they said the Snyder cut never properly explained why the mother boxes woke up when Superman died. And I went, I just watched this movie and I kid you not, the 12th time. Like, the day we had the training event is when I was watching it. So I was like, okay, there you go. I know what we're talking about here. So I was like, no, they said they were afraid of him. Yes, the chat was wrong. Thank you, Snyder. It was so comforting to see Snyder Queen, JJheat, you, David. Everyone came to my defense at that moment because I was like, you. And then they told me, Jared, anyone can interpret a scene differently, and I'm like, but they literally said it. It was, but wait, it was explicit. It wasn't anything interpretive. They literally said this. So I'm like, and then I asked, it's the funny part. This is when I knew I got her. When I asked her, how long ago have you seen this movie? And she goes, like, when it came out.
Dang. So that means you haven't seen this movie in almost 2 years.
Yeah, and I'm like, it shows, and that's why I said that's 100%. I see all in the chats of this is when they always say, okay, so I haven't seen these movies in years and years and years, but I'm gonna assume I know what happens in all of them. It's a bad faith argument, and again, I just want to be 100% clear. I love Nerdette. No hate toward her whatsoever. She lets me come on and be all my Snyder goodness.
No beef.
Yeah. No.
Any Nerdette fans, you are cool with us. No beef.
You're cool with us. And
I think more DC fans just need to be cool with each other in general.
Exactly.
That's a separate conversation.
That's it is. 2 years ago, I'm ready to debate. Yeah. Hey, what's up, nerd man? Superman is bigger than the actor. I don't understand the big commotion. Why people are turning their backs on supporting Shazam and Flash. I don't know.
I can answer that right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because everyone has their ideal interpretation of what they see. What the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of an adaptation of Superman? You're either going to think of DCAU Superman from Superman the Animated Series up to JLU, or you're going to think of Christopher Reeves.
Or maybe one of the comic books you read. But it's just one of the comic books you read, not like all of it.
Oh, and these people, and here's the other thing, and Nerdman, I'm not calling you out. I'm just highlighting this as an example. I've heard like non-Snyder people saying it's bigger than the actor. Then why do you always compare everything to Christopher Reeve?
Yeah.
And by the way, Nelson, you're showing underwear part. That's the issue. So it wasn't like you overreacted. I'm just gonna say that right there. Yeah.
I would not have publicly unveiled that. But that's just me.
Yeah, the actor is just as important as the role, particularly when you have the general audience now see Superman as Henry Cavill. And why wouldn't you? Because
it was solid casting, just by everyone accepting it. The script, the direction was just aimless.
All-Star Superman is great, but you have to understand the context of the story. It's a wise yeah, there you go. That's another thing. I get that you don't want an experienced Superman, and she kept bringing up how like my favorite is when it's not just her. It's like a lot of people assume that Clark has gotten into fights with people that understand like that he's fought people on par with his strength before. And I'm like, no. Particularly Zod, who's trained for war. And then my other favorite argument they always bring up is when they bring up that, this comic writer didn't like Man of Steel. And I'm like, yeah, because all respect to like Max Landis and Mark Waid, but they're writing a specific version of Superman. Yeah. I get it that you may not enjoy the thing, but to say that's not Superman, that is completely bad. And then JJheat says, an experienced Superman is a Boy Scout similar to Captain America. Post-crisis or New 52 has room to grow. Exactly. That's why I love the New 52 Superman. because he was
Even though he's
growing
a
and
bit of
making
a
mistakes.
jackass.
Hey,
Just saying.
JJheat, stop.
You can even use the inexperienced Superman as a reason as to why he killed Zod in the movies.
Yeah.
Because he had never fought anyone at all until then.
Mm-hmm.
He'd always been holding it back.
Batman does kill. I'm just gonna tell you that right there. It's not gonna be his first priority.
Okay. Go back to that previous comment. Technically, he was betrothed to Talia in an old Neil Adams story. He was.
I remember that.
He was technically betrothed to Talia in that story. I don't know if they ever annulled it, but he is technically betrothed to her on international soil. He is technically betrothed to her.
To say this, even Grant Morrison said he was open to the idea of Frank Miller's a-hole Superman. Here's the thing about that, though. Everyone in Frank Miller's universe was an a-hole.
Yeah.
That's what the universe really is. I didn't even like Super Wonder in that universe because Wonder Woman was too aggressive. And then she's fighting Superman, and then they just make out all of a sudden. I'm like, what? No, I don't compare everything Superman to Christopher Reeves. I'm not happy Gunn's taking over DC, but having a new person. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm saying the way they handled it was bad because they told Henry Cavill to announce he's back as Superman and then reversed it. That's my issue with it. Because if they had just not told him to announce it and then just did the cameo, okay, fine. And then what's worse, Injustice Wonder Woman or All-Star Wonder Woman? Oh, I'll start with you, David. What do you think? Which is worse?
I just think Injustice, but I think the whole premise of Injustice is they're all like the worst versions of themselves.
Plus, when you look at I think they did like a prequel issue for Wonder Woman, and it showed she didn't have that sort of upbringing of love back then, and it wasn't like the same Wonder Woman. So, and when people use that as an example of why Superman and Wonder Woman don't work as a couple, I'm like, you realize that was an Elseworld story with a very evil version of Wonder Woman, right? Just want to be
doesn't
clear
mean
on
the
that.
argument has merit. Does not mean the argument doesn't have merit.
Well, yeah, it does, because it's bringing up irrelevant content to the argument. And by the way, JJheat, this is for you. And Snyder Queen. But
hey, you're not bothering me. You're not bothering me.
Exactly. And he learned a lesson from this and saved Lex, even though Lex created Doomsday. Yes. Oh, you mean character development? It's like when Matthew Vaughn was blasting Zack Snyder's Superman. I'm like, have you ever heard of a character development? Dude, you're a director. You should know this. And you said before, everything matters with DC. Yes, exactly.
It kind of does.
Particularly when they had that whole BS Omniverse thing, which they destroyed in Dark Crisis because no one liked it. Because they're like, everything's canon. What about Wonder Woman's 8,000 origins? Which one's canon?
We don't talk about the Omniverse. We really don't.
Yes, Superman didn't have any idea what to do with Zod without killing him because he was going to kill everyone else. And he said it multiple times. And he bet. And I remember Superman begged Zod to stop. Yep. So there are merits to the argument, as JJheat said. Yeah, but it's irrelevant. That particular point is irrelevant. Christopher Reeve's Superman movie is based on George Reeves, which was based in the 1950s era, which won't work in modern films. There's a reason why Superman, for the longest time, and this is where I really pissed Nerdette off, there's a reason why Superman was seen in the general audience as a joke.
Yeah.
And he was. Yeah. That's objectively true. I can go down the street and they'll be like, well, what do you think of Superman? Underwear on the outside of his coat with the whole, gee, well, of course, I'm going to save a cat out of a tree. That's how people saw Superman.
And that was more akin to an old wrestling trope that has been lost to time, but that's a separate debate for another day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was bad, but I still think Superman's bigger than the actor. I love Gal, but I'm open to a recast as long as they get the DC on track. Yeah, me too. Mm-hmm. All I'm saying, dude, is that the way they handled it was bad. I love Henry Cavill Superman. He's my Superman. I would have been more open to the recasting had they not told him to announce his return first. That's really where everyone is like saying, okay, you know what? I'm not going to support a Warner Bros. Movie anymore when they do this, because how can we take their word for anything anymore?
You can't even trust that the movies they have announced will even come out.
I honestly, I don't think a lot of James Gunn's slate's going to come out. I'm just going to tell you that right there.
The Authority seems like the easiest one to cut.
Yeah, which I'm like, Authority and Swamp Thing, maybe. Well, honestly, I don't think, because honestly, here's the thing. His Superman movie had better wow people, because if it comes out and it bombs, I
They're
could
gonna
see
press the
Zaz.
panic button.
I could
Yeah,
see.
he'll
I
probably
could see.
get fired.
Yeah, because that's the fire James Gunn moment. But I'm just saying, if it comes down and it doesn't resonate with the audience and it bombs, I could see Zaslav saying, "Your whole plan's out the window. We're done. I don't trust you anymore."
Yeah, I mean, they fired Zack for literally doing nothing. His movies came out, everybody liked him. They even released the Justice League version of his movie, like after basically fans just begged for it, and then they still fired him. Like it doesn't that everything that they've done in the last like 5-7 years doesn't make sense.
Hamada and Cernoff were ego was before business.
Yeah,
and here's the other thing too. It's interesting, and this brings me back to the Nerdette debate. When her chat tries to tell me that the movies bombed and the vast majority of people didn't like them, I'm like, the what a BVS, the less good version of BVS for $800 million, and Justice League probably would have made $1 billion had it actually had the actual movie been released instead of whatever the hell we got and Joss Whedon went out. And plus, even
Roll the
Man
clip.
of Steel was seen as a hit. Oh, and by
Yeah, second Warner Brothers.
I have to keep using that apparently. But what are we gonna say, David?
it's weird how the Batman gets green lighted for a sequel, and it made very comparable box office to movies that had came out before it that were considered failures, and the Batman's considered a success, and now they're greenlit the sequels. Like that part doesn't. There's no logic to it.
Mm-hmm. And remember also, James Gunn's own Suicide Squad movie didn't perform well. Now you could bring that to COVID. Okay, fine. But it also came out that Warner Brothers inflated the scores for Peacemaker too. Mm-hmm. So how do we know people are really that big on his whole journey? And by the way, I like this. Yes, even if you're not like on board, just say DC can have content for everyone. And then Hot Take says he should cut the Authority and Swamp Thing and just do Martian Manhunter and the Justice League. Yes. Thank you.
He should just do Justice League, honestly.
Mm-hmm. I do agree. And is the issue would have cleared $1 billion if it hit cinemas, especially a 3. I think it would have been. I think it would have been 2 hours 45 minutes.
They could have released that movie in 2 parts in 1 year.
Yeah, they could have. But let's say they wanted to release it at one time. They could have done 2:45, release it in theaters that way, because there's plenty that you can cut out of that movie and then still is competent. And then DVD wise, release the 4-hour cut in the DVD, and there you go. You're good to go. Because here's the thing: even Nerdette said, "Yeah, I like Justice League." The Zack Snyder version. And actually, I went on a previous stream to like clear up a lot of the misconceptions about Snyder, and she asked me, "Which movies did Snyder actually write?" And I'm going, "Justice League, the one that you like."
Yeah,
because he didn't write BVS. He didn't write of the DC movies. He didn't write Man of Steel. He didn't write BVS. The only one where he has a writing credit is Zack Snyder's Justice League, and we all love that movie.
Although it's also interesting to note that like everything after Justice League, like the 2 movies that came out, I think it was
Shazam and Aquaman.
Yeah, the quality was going up.
Mm-hmm. And they tied into Zack's movies.
Yeah, exactly. So I really don't understand why cutting him was their solution to make more money when the movies were already making more money in his universe.
And then they blamed him for Justice League failing, where I'm like, that was for our April Fool's movie night. I have to watch Justice League, and I'm not excited for that. That's going to be a moment to bring lots of comfort food for that one. But anyway, but if you watch that movie, that's not a Zack Snyder movie. That is not that is a Joss Whedon crapshoot. That's the reason why I call it Craptus League. And yes, I think it could have been 3.5 hours because you had the Lord of the Rings movie came out prior, and those movies never end. So I think that at that point, the audience was primed for a longer movie, so they could have done it. The only reason why they didn't do that is because they wanted more show times. That's why they had straight up just 2 hours when the average MCU movie is 2.5.
Yeah, they were just trying to catch the MCU with like all the might they possibly could muster. They're like, cut it down, add more jokes, make it easily digestible, like all the other MCU movies. They just wanted to copy success when they were already on a road to making their own thing that was
trending
different.
graph was going in this direction. And it was kind of funny. Zack Snyder's Justice League is actually funnier than Justice League because like all the jokes in that movie where like where like Barry and Cyborg are like exhuming Superman, and then he goes, "Oh, Wonder Woman. Did you think she would date a younger guy? She's 5,000 years old, Barry. Every guy's a younger guy."
Why did you say that, Dad?
Yeah. Yes, she said she likes Zack Snyder's Justice League, particularly Cyborg. Because if you notice, Cyborg was an actual character in that. By the way, I will be getting the hot toy for Cyborg. I just need to. I'm getting him and Flash. That's all I need, and then I have the whole setup. There you go. But yeah, she told me, yeah, I enjoyed Zack Snyder's Justice League. It wasn't her favorite movie, but she liked it. That's the thing there. Parts of Justice League look like it was shot for the CW. Yes, it does. Absolutely. Yeah. It looks like CW on a bad day, like Flash's CW CGI.
I would argue CW's Crisis looked better than Justice League. And roll the clip. I walked right into that one.
And by the way, one more thing. How disgusting is it that they used his daughter's suicide to get rid of him?
It's disrespectful.
Actually, hang on.
Yeah, second Warner Brothers.
Now.
Why did you say that, Dad?
Yeah, I had to put that because that part is unforgivable. And I'm like, yeah, those people should have been fired for that alone right there. Are you kidding me?
They did go on to get, Sarnoff got blacklisted. I think Hamada got an extension.
No, but he got moved away from DC. I'm like, yes, thank you. Yes, it is disgusting. So excuse me if they got a little bit of hate on the internet for what they did to this dude. Warner Bros. Executives are actual trash, particularly that lineup. And by the way, they were going to do Zack Snyder's Justice League Part 2 and 3 after the movie came out, but then Toby Emmerich, there you go, to quote The Office. I love how many Office memes about Toby were coming out around that time. Yes, that was so good.
He didn't want public knowledge to get out that he and the other executives openly screwed up because they let ego get in the way. Where just about any internet charlatan or hack, Grace Randolph, could have easily figured that out. Mm-hmm. Like y'all were exposed a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. And then Nerdman says, look, if I was in control of DC, I would have tried my best to do Justice League part 1 and 2 with some changes to the plot because some of the plot sounded horrible. But remember, those were Zack admitted that a lot of those storyboards were changing, so it's not like that was going to be exactly what we would have gotten. That was more first draft.
WB just rushed it. They rushed the whole thing. If they would have just let him do his own thing, everything would have came out a lot better than it did. Everything would have made a lot more sense.
We would have been done by now, as a matter of fact. There you go. Yeah, Toby hated Zack. My favorite moment was when Toby was in the Oscars when the Snyder Cut won the Oscar for like fan favorite moment, and he has to watch as the scene that he himself took out got the Oscar. So I'm like, it's a big middle finger, Toby. There you go, right there.
And he had to get on a stage on international television and just take it. Pure catharsis.
Yeah, you see that vid with Toby and the other executives talk about Zack, and they are all saying about how much they missed out on 300 and stuff, and Toby is just sat there squirming the whole time. Yeah.
He should make another 300. That's my honest opinion.
Do you have that Joker clip where they get what they deserve?
No, I don't, because of that he drops an F-bomb in that, and I can't for brand reasons. That being said, since Zack is gone, I think they need a fresh start if there's any chance. It could be also that Zack could come back at some point. Other executives, about how you notice about how not only how everyone else I talk to, including people that work at DC Comics, are talking about how awesome Zack's movies are. I've never seen a director that didn't have one person who worked with him give him a negative review.
His movies got a lot of style.
No one says anything bad about Zack, and I can make that absolute statement because that is true. Everyone's like, no, I love that guy. Snyder haters always attack his family and mock his daughter. Yeah, they mock his daughter's suicide, and that's why I brought up also on Nerdette's thing. That's worse than anything the toxic minority within Snyder fans have said. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, bleep it. Actually, that'd be really funny if I do clips that have the F-bomb, but I bleep them. That would actually be funnier. But what I do have is, since we were talking about 300, I figured.
What is your profession?
you
I
go.
can think of another
That
one.
would be so cool.
Because other directors actually know how talented and skilled he is. You can't deny that the dude was born to do DC content. Have you seen his visuals? Like, okay, I'm gonna play
He's
another clip.
designed for action, like his whole life.
How about this?
Yeah,
That
insane.
that heat vision
Insane.
clash
Literally
with
just
Doomsday.
insane.
I was just like, "Hey, what's up?" Ho gets news traffic. Whatever. It's probably a. I think that's a troll account, but whatever. Oh, yeah, exactly. There you go. There was a Hollywood directors roundtable discussion where other directors asked Toby, "Why don't you like Zack Snyder?" Oh, I gotta find that. Oh, and Zack Snyder does everything better than nowadays DC. Yeah, exactly. If you look at the if you look at the quality, once they what was the next movie after like Aquaman, Birds of Prey?
Oh man, that movie's bad.
That was just Deadpool 2.
Yeah,
That was literally just a ripoff
Yeah.
of Deadpool 2.
And by the writer of Birds of Prey is engaged with is one of the writers for the new DCU. When you have Tom King and that person on the writing staff, I get a little concerned.
Again, these people are contract. I think that's just an extension deal because
Please send it to me, Nerdette, because if we do, we may even do a reaction video to that. That'd be so good. I like the way Peacemaker talks about Batman. I mean,
he has a point.
He has a
I haven't
point. Yeah,
seen that show.
exactly. But yeah, so yeah, I love that. I love how someone directly tells him, "Why don't you like Zack Snyder?" And by the way, he's gone. I love how all the people that didn't like Zack are gone. I wonder. Swamp Thing is important for Justice League Dark. Yeah, they could use Swamp Thing to set up a Justice League Dark movie. By the way, I totally called it that we were going to get a Booster Gold series. I will take my credit for that. I called it. Because it was James Gunn, and he's calling for like, and he's known for like wanting obscure characters. What's a character that doesn't get enough attention, but is actually really cool? Booster.
Dave, what's your casting for Booster Gold?
Chris Pratt.
That would be too close to Star-Lord, but if you could get Chris Pratt, who would be a close second?
But by the way, Nerdman, I was talking about movies in the DCEU after Aquaman, because because let me put it this way: if you look at the performance of movies after Aquaman, because and the ones in the universe, because the Batman's not in the universe, Joker's not in the universe, Flash, we don't know yet. It looks really good. Wonder Woman was before Aquaman, and Shazam was good. I admitted that. And what if Zack Snyder did Super Wonder? Then I would officially be my favorite director of all time. There you go. Then it'd be like, I know another reason why to like you. By the way, we will be trying to get him on the channel this year. That'd be so good.
There's no reason to think that he wasn't already trying to move that way, because he was already building sexual tension between Batman and Wonder Woman. So why wouldn't he build it with Superman?
He could have, yeah, the whole thing. But here's the thing with that one.
Oh, but Lois was there.
That was just Batman flirting with people, and Batman flirts with everyone as Bruce
That's
Wayne.
True.
The whole thing with Batman with the no. Yeah, Comics Code Authority. There you go. Zack Snyder's style also captures the spirit of shonen manga and live action than any director I can think of. Yeah, he captures that god quality.
Don't get my hopes up, man. After Evolution, I've lost all faith in live action adaptations.
After Aquaman is called the Hamadaverse. Yeah, I agree with you on that one. You could probably play it. It's only 1 minute long. It's just executives talking, so no copyright really. You guys want to risk it?
I'm down. Dave, You have the tie. Dave, you can break the tie.
Yeah, play it.
I'll bring it up. All right, so in the meantime, let me bring that onto the tab. But in the meantime, Dave, what DCU project are you the most excited for?
Oh man, it's a tie between the new Superman movie and probably Batman, because Batman is my favorite DC character, so it's really hard for me not to be stoked about that.
Brave and the Bold.
Yeah,
yes.
And it has my favorite Robin in it, so it's like
okay.
And by the way, wait. Snyder Queen said a dirty word.
She said Wonder Bat. I don't.
How's that a dirty word?
It on this channel it is, so I'm gonna actually have to Let's see. What's a good one? I need a really good clip to encomp. Oh, I got it. And I have one more. Oh, he could. Oh gosh,
He can pull it off. He
so
can pull it off.
I have this clip all pulled up. If we get taken down, bear with me. We'll be back. So let's try this. All right, here we go. And this is a fantastic title. All right, so let's do this.
Look at that.
Get away. Is there a no that you above everything else really regret?
The 300 that
Yeah.
they made. That was like a story my grandmother used to tell me as a little kid. You know, she always told me Greek myth stories. She was a
Right.
classics professor from
That's so
Constantinople.
interesting. You say
And I was so close to it that I thought we should do it for real. And I saw this comic book, the Miller book, and I thought, oh, come on, you can't do it like that.
Can I make you feel better?
Yeah.
I did too. Because we had Zack Snyder
Zach
off of
did,
Dawn of the
yes,
Dead.
and he did.
And we had a book that we were developing in the same space with another prominent filmmaker, and we felt like we couldn't do it. And
I
so that
thought
one-
Ridley
another of
Scott
those
should
ones.
do it. Ridley Scott should do it like
But it
Gladiator.
wasn't obvious until, I mean, kudos to you guys because it wasn't obvious until it was obvious,
Yeah.
right? It was.
But at the
definitely one of
time
those-
when Zack Snyder came in, I said, okay, are
Look at
there
that
swords in this
badass.
movie? Yeah. Sandals, arrows, yes. Shields, yes. I said, come on, we just did Troy 20 minutes ago.
Right.
Why would we do that?
But some
And
of
you know
those
what?
lines.
And we took partners in. We had
Yeah.
partners.
I think
So
we've all
it's not-
said
what
no.
we
I think if you went back to every no that we've all given.
Yeah. Where's the one where someone asked him, why do you hate Zack Snyder? Because that wasn't that. But that was hilarious, though.
Yeah.
Them all like saying about how awesome Zack is.
But we didn't mean to cut you off. You were saying that you were saying, David?
Oh gosh.
I forgot
This
about
is
what-
this is well, I'm not saying they have to. I'm saying if I have to pick between the two, Superman.
Let's just agree Wonder Bat was a fling and they ultimately broke it off.
All right.
Oh, why I don't like Wonder Bat.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that like Wonder Woman doesn't really fit into Gotham for one, and she doesn't fit into his lifestyle either because she's really recognizable even when she's not Wonder Woman. She's just
The
wearing the glasses.
DCAU
But that's like a
fans-
Superman thing.
The
Mhm.
DCAU fans would disagree with you on that.
Well, that's
Yeah, but
this is the same. This is written by the same person that thought that there was that there was romantic attraction between Batman and Batgirl. So let's
I
not.
will play devil's advocate. One, that was an one-sided interim attraction, and Bruce Timm forced it to justify
he said it
falling
was
out and
both.
beyond.
He said it was. I looked at the interview and people were attacking him because of the Killing Joke, and he said, "Oh yeah, I always felt that there was a romantic attraction between the two, so it was two-sided in his mind." And I'm like, okay, now I fully know not to take your opinion on relationships ever.
Okay, I did not
And
know
I don't
that.
want to see your browser history. That's just
The
what
very fact that you would insinuate that in any way. Okay, not. Excuse me.
Excuse me. I think Wonder Bat is cute, but I don't think anyone's good enough for Wonder Woman. I'll give you on that one.
I agree with that as well.
I'll give you on that. I'll compromise with you on this one, Sammy, because yeah, that's true. She's a goddess, so I'm like, there's very few people that are or Super Wonder. It's like kissing cousins to me, but they're not related. That's the thing, though.
Sweet home Alabama. Oh, come on, you walked right into that one.
Love that old series. Now I'm a Super Wonder. Thank you. And by the way, Wonder Bat makes Wonder Woman look shallow and that she only dates rich people. Because she's
Steve Trevor wasn't rich.
I don't think that either. I just don't think that there is any chemistry with them.
And there's zero chemistry between her and Trevor in the comics. In the comics, let me be clear on that. And in one of the movies, that there's chemistry. Arguably, there isn't in 1984 because he should have stayed dead. To be honest, Batgirl was attracted to Batman when Batgirl first appeared. Batman was 2. They were in the same. Well, what you have to understand is that this is a significantly younger Batgirl.
Yeah.
But I
But
believe
also the Bat.
if you're going off Bruce Timm's logic, that was around the point they were working together for a long time and they were already consenting adults. I don't think in the Tim verse Bruce was, how can I put this delicately, grooming Batgirl. I don't think that was the case. I just think it was a one-sided attraction. They started working together and it was just a fling gone bad. and they both regretted it. That's just the best way to look at it.
Wonderborg? What? Well,
Was Cyborg and Wonder Woman?
That's I do
At
not.
least he could live long enough to
Well,
be
that's
with
true,
Wonder.
though.
But he's half a man. What does he have to work with? God dang it! I said I wasn't gonna make that joke.
Oh, okay, that's fine. You have a reason for that, and I acknowledge that. You're not like, did you guys see this? I did the video about how Lois Lane is irrelevant to Superman, and I had people tell me to go F myself.
Oh, you got a lot of heat for that.
Yeah, any opinion like that will get a lot of heat.
I'm like, I don't care because it's true. Even Nerdette acknowledges that because she's like, yeah, Lois Lane doesn't really do anything, just doesn't really add anything to Superman anymore. Anything she adds can be fulfilled by another person. Plus, remember, thank you, Tom King, for giving me ammunition because Lois Lane in that one revealed the secrets of like every superhero that went to Sanctuary when Clark told her not to do that. So she put not only Clark's identity and secrets in jeopardy, but everyone else's. And yeah, I got dragged for it. Yeah, arguably not like deservingly, but okay. But I'm like, and then I actually found this is where I first started using this.
Okay, they're talking about fictional characters. Fictional characters.
Yeah, that's why I use that on Twitter. I'm like, guys, should you please remember it's just this. It's not the real people.
That's what I want to say to people who are pro Snyder and anti Snyder.
Mm-hmm.
Fictional characters.
Yeah, just because I enjoy like one version of the characters doesn't have to be like doesn't have to mean that your version is invalid. I've always said I like Christopher Reeves. I just like this version a lot more, and yeah. I'd rather have them be a lesbian relationship. Okay, you could see that. Yeah, okay. And
that makes sense with the mascara background.
Yeah, Batman having a child with Lois Lane. Why? He changed that. I don't know how many different ways I can tell people. And then again, for some reason,
if you go off those storyboards, that was a pure rebound situation.
For some reason, Nerdette kept bringing that up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to keep saying this. Zack Snyder himself admitted he changed that because that was stupid. But anyway, next topic. This is gonna be a little more fun. We're gonna rewrite DC storylines. So, you guys want to rewrite City of Bane or the death of Superman first?
I'll take City of Bane.
All right. City of Bane, otherwise known as Tom King destroying Batman. Lois Lane is one of my favorite DC characters. I love her moxie when she has the Superman universe. That's fine, fair enough. You can like her, but I haven't read City of Bane because I dropped off of Tom King's Batman. But when I do know about it, the first thing I would do not use Flashpoint Batman because I think he's wasted.
I feel like that storyline was an amalgamation of Nightfall and Batman Inc.
Okay, cool. I'll let you in.
Oh, yeah. Send them the link.
Yeah, send you a link. And remember, the rule is keep it PG and on topic, but I think that'll be fine. So I'll send you the link, Nerdman.
Bye, Snyder Queen.
Bye. See you, Sammy. See you, Sammy. All right. Where is Nerdman?
This is the one where Alfred dies, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I would change that part.
Yes, exactly. I do.
Well, that would be relatively unavoidable because editorial wanted to use the death of Alfred to justify
5G.
Yeah, but their editors are also not the best.
Idiots.
Have you seen the editorial staff at DC?
Yeah.
The very fact that Megan Fitzmartin is still.
How about Azrael instead of Flashpoint Batman? That would work.
Oh, they did that. That would be admitting they ripped off Nightfall. Am I the only one considering this?
But that's okay.
It'd be better than what we got.
When you think about really, really great stories, they come from other stories. And it's okay to pay homage to things you really loved and things that you think should hey, if I'm a brand new reader and I've never heard Nightfall before, this is a good way to reinterpret it.
Mm-hmm.
I actually get what Tom King was trying to do. This ties back to the button, how Thomas didn't want Bruce to be Batman anymore. But why would you purposely side with a villain and hold an alternate version of Alfred hostage just to break the bat and break your son so badly? I probably could have worded that better. That he never donned the cowl again.
Plus, do you really think that being Batman and attacking your son is becoming a villain is going to make Bruce not want to be Batman?
I mean, he already was supposed to get married to Selena. That could have been his temptation to stop being Batman in of itself.
Yeah, you didn't have to do it. That's why I would cut that character out completely and just have Bane be the mastermind if you really have to do a Bane takeover. It didn't make sense. I was like, what the hell? What do you? If anything, you should have had Flashpoint Batman team up with Batman. Now,
and I would argue Damian would die instead of Alfred. At least then you could have gotten some.
Damian dies again.
He gets he's like, all right, Alfred, break out the Hellbat suit again. I'm going back to Apocalypse. Oh my god!
Part of me kind of wonders if like the DC editorial doesn't really know what to do with Damian sometimes, so they make up motives for him, and that's what Alfred is in this story.
Pretty much.
Let's not forget they don't know what to do with Batman. So
yeah, especially now.
And Tim Drake. Let's not forget Tim Drake.
Yeah.
Don't even get
and
me
also
started.
having like a whole bunch of people writing Batman at the same time is bad for him too, because that's a lot of continuity that will always have to be remembered.
And 8,000 Batman books just doesn't. It
dilutes him.
The other character that I think DC editorial doesn't know what to do. How about Ghostmaker Bane? But Ghostmaker was on Batman's side. I don't think.
I get he was a rival to Bruce in his training, but he would have no reason to join Bane.
And also, what I was going to bring up is another character that DC editorial has no idea what to do is Wonder Woman.
They haven't been able to craft a good Wonder Woman story in years.
And they keep giving her the bottom tier writers. They can't get like a big name writer for her, which I don't know how.
They have not resurrected Alfred yet. And Batman and Robin, they did technically bring him back via demon possession. But no, Alfred has not been fully brought back in main continuity.
Because that makes sense. Thanks, DC. But it's like, I think, and that's the thing, because there have been good Wonder Woman runs like Greg Rucka and George Perez. But again, it's not that many compared to like Superman, Batman, Flash, Green Lantern, because we all know Jeff Johns, baby. I got 3 Omnibuy right there. There you go.
Wonder Woman can sell. You would just really have to commit to the bid and the mythology.
Considering she's also a member of the Trinity. When you think of DC, you think of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. Where is she?
Yeah.
Where is she? Exactly. Where is she? I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing here?
Like her biggest book, I think in maybe the last, I don't know.
Please don't say the storyline I think you're going to say.
Oh, no.
Dead Earth.
Oh, okay. We thought you were going to say Trial of the Amazons.
No.
Or Amazon.
Those are bad. Those are, in my opinion, those aren't very good. Dead Earth is maybe the best thing she's had in a long time.
All right, JJheat, I have a present for you.
Oh, hey.
I just wanted to say, yes, I got this because I didn't know how bad it was.
My only catharsis is the fact that you actually read that garbage.
I do have volume 2 of the new 52 run signed by Azzarello.
Now, New 52 Wonder Woman was not bad for what
she not bad at all.
For what it was.
I haven't read this yet, but I am excited because of this right here.
Dude, I read that entire series. You will enjoy it. It's very Elseworlds. In other words, it's like this is not what would happen to Wonder Woman in the real continuity, but it works so well because it's Grant Morrison.
You see what I'm saying? Like, if you give them a good writer, good things happen.
Like, and I don't think Clunrad know what the hell they're doing because
Clunrad's just incompetent. Let's just call it for what it is.
Yeah, I know. You even had Gail Simone's Wonder Woman run was actually pretty decent.
5 out of 10.
I'm reading it right now. I'm enjoying it, but the point is that compared to what we have right now, she's on the level of Jeff Johns. Okay.
Wow.
Wonder Woman.
Agree to disagree.
Have you read current Wonder Woman?
You can. Another thing that I've been noticing with really current comic books is that a lot of people want to hate on them because there's all these like things that people don't agree with in them. But people can like whatever they want to like, and some of these things are going to be remembered. And there's, it's not really up. I mean, it is up to us and to some degree what gets remembered. But even if you don't like it, and a bunch of people else like it, that's what will be remembered.
And yes, Tavia, we would save Alfred.
Yeah, we would save Alfred.
But Tavia, you may not like who we would kill in his place.
What John Kent got to do with this?
No, we would kill Damian, so you definitely wouldn't get Super Sons.
Oh, I don't feel sorry. I think that would be narratively justified.
I would kill him and then have Bane go up and kill John Kent just for like to demonstrate that he can kill a Kryptonian. I'm only kidding, but But yeah, it's like when you look at, because again, Wonder Woman's supposed to be like the most famous female superhero, supposed to be your icon, and she doesn't have that. The best thing that happened to Wonder Woman was that movie, but then you follow it up with immediately the book that seems like it's written by Clunrad. It's like, what the hell?
Also, like Captain Marvel made $1 billion and Wonder Woman didn't make $1 billion, and I don't even know who Captain Marvel is. You know
The
what I
reason
mean?
why that movie made $1 billion is because they marketed it as you had to watch this movie for Endgame, which you
Also,
clearly didn't.
It came out in between 2 Avengers movies.
Yeah,
which is very smart.
Mm-hmm. Wish James Gunn asked Jim Lee to make Jeff Johns and Grant Morrison the creative head of DC Comics.
They'll never do it.
Grant Morrison, I don't think would take it.
That would have been a power team. Marvel did more with Cosmic Karen than Wonder Woman. Nice, JJheat. But yes, I would have. Well, I did say James Gunn did say he's cooperating. He's collaborating with Jim Lee to make sure that the movies reflect the comics and vice versa. So I'm like,
good synergy.
Okay,
good synergy.
there you go.
Does Jim Lee know how to write though? That's what I always wonder.
Well, not right, but
he's a better artist than he is a writer. He's a better artist.
He's a better writer. How would you rewrite Bendis as Superman? Not put
I
him
wouldn't
on
have
Superman.
Bendis on Superman at all.
Not put him on Superman. Say you're taking Batman or you're not coming to DC. Whatever. There you go. You're staying on a street level character until you can prove that you can write a competent story. Because at that point he was starting to decline. And yeah. So in other words, who would I have put on Superman instead? Literally anyone.
I would have kept Patrick Gleason because that was a solid run.
And Tomasi, yeah. I would have kept that going. Anything that comes out his MCU would make more money than DC movies because of the hype and continuity and dedicated fan base that Warner Brothers could have had they not sabotaged Zack Snyder. I'm just saying they had that set up. They had a good universe, and then they're like, "Nah, we're gonna get away from it."
They pressed the panic button.
Yeah, but in other words, to redo City of Bane, honestly, I wouldn't do Bane taking over the city, because how many storylines has it been where ex-villain takes over the entire city of Gotham?
Every other Tuesday?
Joker. Yeah, seriously.
Joker, Scarecrow, and I'm like, first off, why does anyone live in Gotham anymore?
Yeah, because they're married and dead and they can't leave the city.
No, but the property tax better be bottom tier. The property value has got to be like really low, because you have to contend with a Joker. You have to contend with a Joker attack, or like Batman like ramming you with his bat car. It's got to be nuts. A Rebirth started off so good for the first few years and then a steep decline. Like because with the new 52.
They went dark and gritty again with metal.
Yeah.
Good storyline. The Initiative was just
and then what really killed Rebirth was Heroes in Crisis, and I'm actually going to play that clip because I said that storyline.
Yeah.
Why did you say that name?
Yeah, I have to say that
I haven't seen a storyline of blatant character assassination since Countdown.
Yeah, exactly.
I read Countdown.
Oh, really? You read that?
I was a kid. I didn't know any better.
Well, arguably, Amazon's Attack is a character assassination of everyone in that book.
But Countdown is still worse. Let's be honest.
Countdown is still worse. Yeah, exactly. I still say Countdown is worse. It's like I'm like it's because I've long maintained that DC is better than Marvel because of the characters, because of the storylines, but they don't act like they are. They really, and yes. There you go. And Tevia summarizes it really well. Bendis and Tom King ruined everything. Yes, exactly. It was so dumb.
I'll step above that, saying that the whole... Okay, I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid. 5G was just Dan DiDio copying All New, All Different. I'll say it.
And really was. I'm glad it didn't happen, because that would have tanked DC. And by the way...
let me remind you, All New, All Different crashed and burned within the span of 3 years.
That they had to undo it. And I love how the MCU is now going all new, all different, considering it failed in the comics. But it's because of the Gotham City Demon. Oh, that's interesting. The demon taking over Gotham. And ladies and gentlemen, the Nerd Man. What's up, dude? Long time no see.
Yeah, long time, bro. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent. So we're talking about rewriting all these DC storylines.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's why I was like, I got to come on, because I love doing all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
That's my thing.
So we're gonna right now
The
we're
mess
doing
on my bed.
It's all
Anyway.
good. So we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna do the death of Superman as well. Is it like how would we do it? How would we change certain elements? Because I love the storyline completely. I think it's amazing. But
the Camu version or the original?
We could do both if you want. And let's move on to this. So one of the things I would immediately do is have a competent Justice League, because if you've seen the Justice League lineup of that storyline, it's like Booster Gold, Fire, Blue. I'm like,
that was a poor roster.
Seriously.
Yeah.
That was just a poor roster.
They did that rewrite in the DCAU, obviously, didn't they?
Yeah.
Because it was like Wonder Woman, Flash, and all of that kind of
You mean
stuff.
the one that could actually pose a threat to Doomsday?
Yeah, that was stupid.
Well, it's still Batman, but still, I'm just like, Booster Gold is going up against Doomsday, really?
Yeah.
He has future tech.
Okay, correction. Blue Beetle against Doomsday. But
well, he was in a coma.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just like, oh my gosh. But in terms of like how the first way I would start off, I would keep the beginning the way it is, because I like the way it kind of starts off with like how you see the fist hitting the wall and everything. I think it's a fantastic way to like show, oh, this is someone that's gonna kick Superman's ass. But the first thing I would do is actually the end. I would keep Superman dead and not bring in 4 Supermen.
Because it's the first Superman comic I ever read, and it's like when I was like 14, I think 14 years old, maybe 13 even, and I am struggling a bit to remember like how it went, but it was epic. I know it was fucking epic, but yeah, it was the first one I ever read.
So I have because I'm signed up for DC Ultra, they sent me a very special trade of the Death of Superman.
Sweet, I like that cover.
Yeah, Ivan Reyes cover, and it has the whole storyline and a few sequel stories. But yeah, I wouldn't bring in the 4 Superman, because I think if you're marketing it as the Death of Superman, don't continue the Superman title. That just undermines it completely. Because like Superman, Man of Steel, Adventures of Superman still went on.
So you think that so you think they should have just killed off the Superman title for
however long they want to keep him dead, kill off the Superman title, because you can't call it the Death of Superman then.
I agree that Reign of the Superman came in way too soon, but the main point of that storyline of Death and Reign was literally a marketing campaign.
Yeah.
That was the main aspect of that story. Now, if you want to give it some impact and iconography, let Superman stay dead about a year or two, then have the reign.
Yeah.
Don't be so quick to bring Clark back.
Yeah, I mean, that was just so. It's like, and like practically the next issue, they're like, oh nope, he's saved from this. All of a sudden, we have a whole Jesus in the tomb example of like, oh, the body's gone. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I like the storyline. The 4th Superman was a big mystery at the time. It was. It's a good story, but I'm like,
one was a clone, one was an inspired civilian, the other was a petty cyborg, and the 4th was a contingency program.
Yeah, I love it. And also, I would change the excuse for why Superman comes back to life, because the whole he didn't really die, he was just in a Kryptonian healing coma, was the dumbest cop-out I have ever seen.
Rejuvenation cycle.
So you're basically saying you'll change more of the sequel than the actual the main story.
Actually, yeah, too, because the main storyline is actually not that bad. I'm just saying because what followed up was BS.
It's a weak roster, but other than that, Death of Superman's not that bad. No, it was just a weak roster.
My favorite part of the Death of Superman story arc is how each subsequent issue has fewer panels as a way to count down until the death. And I'm like, yes, that's so dope. But yeah, I would essentially the post content. In other words, I'd be like, okay, no 4 Supermen. Cancel the book and like have a better way to bring him back, like not Kryptonian healing coma. You could even say it's like a form of kryptonite that brings him back to life or something like that. Just something other than he's in a coma. I know he's basically in a cocoon like a little butterfly.
All that really did was just downplay, like saying that Clark was just beaten into an inch of his life. Eradicator was able to resuscitate him in the fortress, and Clark just had to sleep it off for a couple of months.
Yeah, I know. Oh, just sleep it off. You'll be fine.
Kind of cheapens it.
Oh, Superman killed Doomsday. So when people tell me Superman doesn't kill, I'm like, Doomsday.
That was a pure life.
Yeah, but that was I don't think that really counts. I mean, you're talking about like a being that has no conscience as well,
and it's super adaptable. Like seriously.
Oh, by the way, it even has this fold out of the picture of
triple page spread.
Yeah,
nice.
Baby. There you go. I love that.
I'm thinking now because I do like the storyline a lot, and I'm thinking how I would what I would do to edit it a little bit. It's done pretty. I think it was done pretty great. But like you're right about like the sequel. I think the sequel could have been a lot better, and I think it could. I don't know about canceling the Superman title completely, but looking at the doing less Superman perhaps.
This was not,
and then and just looking at the aftermath from different people's perspectives of
that would have worked.
What the loss of Superman meant for like a year would have been good before like Lex Luthor or something comes up, because Lex Luthor kind of realizes, holy shit, like we need Superman. Like that could have been the thing, like, you know, like the realization of even Lex Luthor, his, you know, greatest villain, is the one who ends up, you know, bringing him back, but he doesn't tell anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So they still think Lex is evil and whatever. But, you know, we as the readers know that Lex Luthor was the one who in the end came up with the science or something to bring him back.
Yeah, somehow. Yeah. And
that would have been, I think, interesting. But then he still maintains that he hates Superman and like
he's like, you know what, I hate you, but I see your value in Metropolis. But what you could do, Nerdman, going off of that, is that each subsequent Superman issue after the death is like, okay, how does Batman react to his best friend dying? How's Wonder Woman? How does everyone he has inspired? How does Lois? How does Perry? But basically, pick certain characters who are very close to Superman, and then have subsequent issues talking about how they reacted to death.
The DeCamera actually did something similar to that, to where you did have a tie-in comic for Death of Superman. In the latter half of that series was the League's perspective on Clark's death, though. You didn't get any Super Wonder moments, and
because they broke off screen between movies like lazy people.
I don't think you were going to get any real catharsis for that. The moment they brought Lois into prominence, you knew what was coming.
At least show it on screen, them deciding, you know what, this didn't work out, instead of just.
Oh, so you want to actually use the Tomasi material where Superman acts needy and dumps Diane on the spot?
It's better than what they did in the DeCamu.
All they did was a throwaway line saying that it was better to be comrades.
I know, it's horrible. And by the way, JJheat, for bringing that up. Yeah, what's up,
here's a thing as well, which would be interesting. If they save the reveal for like 5, even 10 years that Lex was the one who saved him.
Ooh, that would work.
Right? And then it would be like, you could even kind of make it mirror the whole thing of like the death of Lex Luthor. Right? And then Superman finds out, you know, after he died or whatever, that he was the one who brought him back.
And you can have a line where at the end of the whole series, Superman goes to visit Lex and says, I just want to thank you for saving me. And then Lex goes, no. I saved you because I'm the only one allowed to kill you. No one else is allowed to kill you.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Something like that.
That's because that's so what Lex would say. Lex was disguised as his son in a clone body. Yes, exactly.
Yes, Luthor with hair.
Wait. He was banging Supergirl, but it was Matrix Supergirl who was a shape-shifting alien. Because comics. But and then another thing which you could do in a Justice League story, I would have like some threat happens, but the Justice League fails because they don't have Superman. That they have to learn not to have. They have to learn to be a team without Superman.
And the DeCamu version tried this. Like, they didn't even trust Connor. I'm just gonna say, in DeCamu, that was Connell. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah, that was
But
Kyle.
they didn't trust Connor like at all.
What is your favorite like period of time for the Justice League and for Superman in terms of like the depiction and power scaling and everything?
I would say
I'm asking you because I have one and I want to tell you, but I'm curious as to
All right, I'll go first. I'll say post-Crisis, but pre-Flashpoint, it was most consistent. It inspired the DCAU, and it was a staple of proper hero scaling for a generation. So post-Crisis, that would be my take.
Just so I'm getting this, it's like you're talking about like it's like the Greg Rucka and
Greg Rucka.
What's his name?
George
the guy
Perez?
did not All-Star Superman, Birthright, and all of that kind of stuff.
Mark Waid.
Mark Waid
and Greg Rucka and all of those. Well, that's mine as well.
My favorite is post-Crisis and New 52 because first off in post-Crisis you have like Jeff Johns' Green Lantern, Grant Morrison's JLA, All-Star Superman. You have all these like arguably some of the most iconic storylines of all of DC in there. Then when you get into the New 52, it was an excellent. They essentially brought the heroes down to our level because they were younger. They made mistakes. They grew more as a team because in the Justice League book, I know this because I got the omnibus for my birthday, but they didn't really become a team until 5 years after the team was formed because they were like, okay, so wait a second, this whole us being our own separate characters is not working. We have to be the team that everyone thinks they are now. And that's when they start like expanding the roster, starting to trust each other more. And I was like, okay. Plus, then you had the Dark Side War where they all became freaking gods. And I was like, yes. Well,
look, it's like I think the New 52 had some things that it did really well. I think if I remember correctly, like the Flash was done pretty good.
Batman.
Batman for sure.
Batman for sure was done good. I like the new take on Shazam. I thought Shazam actually worked really, like it crystallized a lot of things that had been left up in the air about Shazam. He wasn't like a really solid, unified character until New 52. And he became one of my favorite characters after New 52.
Yeah,
so,
I love that take on Shazam. Are you kidding me? Awesome. And that inspired the movie. Awesome. So there you go.
Yeah. It was really good. The Stroke of Genius by Jeff Johns. But there were just some really distasteful stuff as well. I mean, I know you like the Wonder Woman from that period. I just think it was awful. I thought it was just
Teen Titans.
I couldn't believe
Teen Titans,
what they did to Wonder Woman. I was just like, oh, the Amazons are killing men.
I hated that. I hated that, Nerdman. I hated that.
It's like
it's mythological.
What's going on here?
It's accurate to mythology. So
I don't care. That's not what what's his name? The creator of Wonder Woman was trying to do. That was the exact opposite. He was saying that Amazons. Yeah, he was saying that Amazons were a myth by men. That whole thing of them being like cruel and horrible and brutal was a myth by men because it was like propaganda. Essentially against women, and actually this is what the Amazons were like. The Amazons were like peaceful and utopian. So
and to be clear, I don't like all of the New 52. There are certain books that I personally enjoy. Like I started reading The Flash and I'm like, yes, hell yeah, because it's like Francis Manipul's art first off on The Flash is like fantastic. But I enjoyed Superman, Wonder Woman, Superman and Wonder Woman, Batman, Justice League specifically, because that was like the first comic that I actually read was like Trinity War, and probably Deathstroke is what I enjoyed the most. Teen Titans, I was like, nope, it's very forgettable. I'm not reading that.
But you know what I really liked about the period you were talking about was the power scaling, and I like the fact that Superman was badass and he was the powerful as shit, but he wasn't like the Justice League couldn't do shit to him. It was like they had the ability to do, like, Flash could, fuck with him. Wonder Woman had an epic fight with him, in during that period.
Oh yes.
That was one of the sickest things. I still think that should be on film one day.
Yes, please.
And yeah, so you had the characters where they were a little bit more level with Superman, even though Superman was still a tad bit more powerful than them. Whereas in New 52, it just became, well, you might as well just have Superman on the team and that's it, because like the rest of them can't fucking hang with Superman. And that even got even worse to me in like the films, like the Snyder films. Even though I like Snyder's Justice League, one of my things that I find a little bit of a,
it's an honest critique.
I'm like, yeah, Superman shouldn't take out Wonder Woman by just headbutting her, especially when you made her so powerful to be able to fight Doomsday. I don't understand that.
I do admit with that one, that fight could have been a lot longer and a lot more like epic in terms of that bit, because he essentially just swatted her away, and I'm like, okay, that would not happen. I can tell you, I love Zack's movies, and that would not happen.
Right. So yeah, that's another reason why the New 52 kind of bugs me, because I'm sure he got that interpretation of Superman from the New 52, whereas just before, if he had it, can you imagine if Zack was reading those comics? Because then you would have had like an epic Justice League versus Superman fight,
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. And arguably, there were certain parts, there were certain times in like even post-crisis where Superman bodied the entire Justice League. But I do agree with you. The fight could have been longer. I 100% agree with you on that one. But
still a beautiful movie, though.
Oh yes. Oh hell
don't
yes.
get me wrong.
Yeah, Dave, we never asked what was your favorite era.
Yeah. Go ahead, dude.
The New 52 to Rebirth era. Like well, there's not like everything in there, but there's like bits and pieces of like brilliance, and there's a lot of like kind of trash in there too. But you just like pick and choose the things you like, because I think that like some of the best Batman ever was in there, and then some of the best Supermans in there too. Exactly, Court of Owls, even Zero Year, I think is in my opinion the best origin he can have for a modern setting.
Mm-hmm. And remember, the best thing to come out of New 52 was Jessica Cruz. Say what you want. I think she was a fantastic addition to Green Lantern, because you have someone that's agoraphobic but uses a ring that is in the job description. You have to be able to overcome fear, and she's like, I'm overcoming my fear every time I go outside. So I'm like, oh, that's a very compelling story. I like that. They added a new Green Lantern and didn't like make them basically Hal Jordan. They gave her own unique struggle, and I really love that. And
I still don't see the point of
Simon. What did you guys make of the new Green Lantern cartoon
series?
No, the why am I forgetting everyone's name this morning? It's because I'm drinking too early.
Nice.
Jon Stewart, the new Jon Stewart Green Lantern movie.
I liked it.
Oh, right.
I liked
my
it as
power.
well.
It was pretty good.
Beware My Power. It was pretty good. It's actually a very unique take on like the Parallax storyline. So I was like, oh, I immediately saw what they were going for when I saw like the Green Lantern Corps' like laid out body. But I'm like, okay, this is actually a really cool way to do it, because they took this is why I say this is what I say about when you're adapting a storyline. You can change certain elements of it, but as long as you keep like the spirit of the story, I'm fine with it. And that was 100% Emerald Twilight.
Yeah, and even though this was technically Kyle Rayner's origin, and the movie did get some heat for that. I mean,
Jon Stewart, it wasn't Kyle Rayner.
Kyle Rayner replaced Hal in the 90s. It was basically Hal's Wally West. But anyway, but to make it a long story short, I just prefer Jon Stewart better. I grew up with the DCU. And really, all you needed was like a cameo, just something that actually references Kyle Rayner in a certain way, and you could have smoothed that out.
Well, there's no reason he can't exist.
Because Hawk Girl, that's a win.
Well, here's the thing: there's no reason why Kyle can't show up in that, because they've already said that there was already a Green Lantern on the Justice League, and that was Hal. But there's no reason why that he couldn't all of a sudden show up in like a sequel. The only thing the only complaint I have about that movie, I would not have killed Hal Jordan. I'm like, no, sorry, dude.
And even then, Hal doesn't even die in Emerald Twilight. Hal dies in 0 Hour Crisis in Time.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. But I'm like, I get what you're going for. I don't like that one element, but overall, Nerdman, I very much like that movie a lot. I saw the Legion of Superheroes movie recently. That was really good. I love that movie.
That one was really good.
They nailed Supergirl so well. I'm like, yes.
It would have been too easy to make her a Karen. It would have been too easy.
And they didn't do it. I'm like, I was so worried, and they actually did it. I was like, yes. They actually,
that was. I think the Tomorrowverse is actually coming along pretty well.
I love the Tomorrowverse.
I mean, I still like the first phase chapter of the DCAU more. Like, I think their first films were just like hitting on all cylinders, but this new phase is maybe my second favorite phase so far.
I love
really
it.
good.
I love twist villains a little too much, but other than that, they're coming out pretty consistently.
I love how in the Superman one that they turned Parasite into Godzilla, and I was like, oh, okay, I see what you're going for. But I love it, and like I liked how they did Batman. I like first off, I love Jensen Ackles as Batman.
He's better as Red Hood, but yeah, he's pretty solid.
By the way,
there you go.
Hey, you have it.
Hey, there you go.
Of course, I'm gonna rep for my boy John Stewart.
Oh, I love John Stewart. He and Hal are my favorite Green Lanterns, and I'm like, yes. Hal, and Jessica. Still.
And I love that they finally gave him a origin as well. They gave John Stewart, like, you know, I've always said, why not play up that military background and you know, maybe he has like PTSD or something, you know, like from going into war and stuff like that. That's relatable, you know, and like so I thought that was a really good idea that they brought into it.
Yeah, it's heavy. Was not a fan of Beware My Power, and you still have yet to tell me any reason why you don't like it. But that's besides the point.
Hal Jordan was a villain.
Well, he was in that in the storyline. They were clearly adapting.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
He literally was.
And I think they gave him a better out in this movie. They gave him a better reason.
Yeah, he's actually being controlled. That they actually showed you the parallax thing going inside. So I'm like, oh, okay.
It's a combination of the two, because it technically, in the original story, Emerald Twilight, it carries over from Reign, where Coast City is destroyed by Mongol, and Hal just loses his mind and goes off the deep end. And then Justice.
Yeah, and what's wrong with that, Tavia? It could be that they want to go with who's the most popular Green Lantern next to Hal Jordan, John Stewart.
Now, Kyle Rayner is the most creative and effective with his ring. Now, we're talking power scaling, willpower, and creativity. It's a tie between Hal and Kyle, depending on which attributes we're talking about.
And Tavia, they didn't really build it up that well in the comics either. It's just, okay, Coast City is destroyed. I'm going to go kill the Green Lanterns now.
Right, exactly. I think they gave it a much better reason. Or not a better reason, but at least Hal Jordan wasn't just, you know, like, yeah, exactly. Like, oh, they just destroyed Coast City, so I'm going to fucking kill everyone. Right? Like, it was a much, much better reason for him so that he can still come back and be like a hero still, rather than, you know, do you know what I mean? His redemption is going to be easier in the storyline, in this story. Not that I didn't like the other storyline, but it's going to be easier in this storyline to give him a redemption arc than the one that they did in the comics.
Well, remember,
even though he technically got a redemption as a Spectre for about 5 years, but that's a separate conversation.
Well, but remember that in this story, the difference between this and Emerald Twilight is that back then we didn't know Parallax existed. Now we do, so they can just say, okay, it's Parallax controlling him. But why have Sinestro be a lackey?
Okay, that's an honest critique, because Sinestro would never be a lackey to anyone.
Okay, that's true. I'll give you that. That's the one ding. Sinestro would not be a lackey. Well, actually, it could be because he worships fear and Parallax, so he sees Hal Jordan as the embodiment of Parallax. But Hal Jordan is unfortunately dead. Oh, this is DC. This is DC. They'll find some BS reason to bring him back.
Yeah,
exactly. Now, if we're going purely off the context of the film, yeah, because Hal had no real agency. He was literally possessed by Parallax the whole time. So, Oliver going for the kill like that, you could have set that up a lot better. Who's to say Hal wasn't going to go on another rampage when he regained consciousness?
And by Tevia, remember, where did they put Hal Jordan's body when he was dead? In the sun in the comics. So we're already dealing with a lot of BS in DC. but yeah, that wasn't a good version of Sinestro. I'll agree. I would argue the best non-comics version of Sinestro is actually the Green Lantern movie. That was not bad.
I would argue Green Lantern the animated series.
The live action movie. Oh, that show was dope. Are you kidding me? The Green Lantern animated series was freaking dope. Have you seen that, David and Nerdman?
Which one? Sorry, I got cut out for a second. What one were you saying was the best version of Sinestro?
The Green Lantern animated series that's on HBO Max.
Oh yeah, no, I watched I know a lot of people love that, but I watched a couple of episodes and I just couldn't deal with the animation one, and then I just something didn't. I don't know. It didn't get me in the same way as the rest of their animated series, but I'm sure it is really good. But my favorite is probably First Flight. Sinestro.
Yes.
That I thought was fucking awesome. I think they should take that panel for panel and make it a movie.
Yeah, that's what they should have done for 2011.
Maybe add Jon Stewart in, but apart from that,
if you want some good Green Lantern content, I'll say this and then we'll log off for the night. But look up Emerald. I think it's called Emerald Warriors. It's like an anthology series, and it's an animated movie. Emerald Knights. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Nerd Man. That was fantastic. I was like, it goes through the history of the Lanterns. It teases Sinestro becoming a Yellow Lantern. We see like Kilowog going through boot camp, and I'm like, yes, this is so dope. But anyway, I think that's a good place to leave it, gentlemen. This was fun. We'll do another open panel again real soon. So, Nerd Man, where can one find you?
Hot Takes Tuesdays is my channel. I talk about nerd shit like this usually. So.
Awesome. And David, where can one find you?
I mean, I just basically have a Twitter. I don't really I just like talking about comics, think about them a lot, and just like reading them, honestly.
Oh, awesome. And JJheat, where can one find you, and what do we have coming out for you?
I recently uploaded a SWTOR Let's Play, Bounty Hunters Part 2. I also did a brief spoiler-free review of another comic leader's upcoming comic series, Screecher. Hopefully I can get him on the show for an in-depth review. It's this right here.
It's awesome. I love that.
So shout out to Phoenix Press and his creative team. And just be on the lookout for more content in the future. I also have a Twitter on JJheat75 and a YouTube channel, JJheat Blaze. So be on the lookout. Excuse me.
Dave the Impaler, just to say one quick thing.
Yeah.
Yes, you need to watch it again because he was.
It was
possessed the whole time.
Yeah.
The whole time. So, and then in terms of what's coming out for Comics League, tomorrow we're doing a movie night and we're talking about Pacific Rim. I know it's not a comic book movie, but it's very clearly inspired by comics and it has comics based off of, so I'm counting it. And then we're going to be on Taladia's channel talking about DC stuff. And then in terms of what video I have coming out, I'm still debating on what topic I want to do. So if you're on the lookout for that, and then I have a bunch of shorts I'm going to put out. And then obviously, gentlemen, you guys are welcome anytime on the channel. Nerdman, we have to do more collabs, dude. I miss you, brother.
I missed you too, bro.
All right. So we'll do more.
We definitely will. We definitely will.
All right. So stay heroic, everyone, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.